We felt that at a certain stage of the project implementation, there is a need to sit down and discuss with the government stakeholders to listen to their view and to see how we can find a solution either on a short term and also on a long term basis. So that is why after Karatu we have decided to have this dialogue with the government and stakeholders.
But let me just start briefly by explaining a little bit more about this project. Why do we have this project at all? We have it because, on one hand, the 55 years that Ngorongoro has been this multiple land use area is quite an amazing thing. It's not something that happens everywhere, all the time. It is quite something special. There's not many sites in the world. In 59, there was, I think, no other site in the world which was a protected area, which was people, wildlife, and tourism in that sense. It is still one of the most pristine sites. People come here because they think it is paradise reincarnation. No, I mean, they come to the crater because they feel that this is one of the most unique things they've ever seen in the world. After looking at the issues, of course, of which governance is one complex of issues that are related to governance, that are related to the law, also to the act, we then went into the facts. We had a lawyer present the act and what his challenges are and what is currently going on in trying to change it. We had someone present about, in fact, the chief conservator himself, about Ngorongoro Conservation Area Authority, how it functions in itself, how it is related to other governance entities. We had someone from the district, and we had someone to talk about traditional governance.
Ngorongoro Conservation Area was actually excised from Serengeti in 1959. It was part of the greater, Serengeti National Park. There was a deal that was made between the British and the Maasai. But then, in exchange for their readiness to relinquish rights in Serengeti, they were guaranteed the right to continue to usually occupy Ngorongoro, where wildlife conservation was to be reconciled with the rights of the Maasai in a multiple-use context. This agreement was signed in April 21st, by 12 representatives of the Maasai. So initially, what was prohibited was only hunting, but they were allowed to continue grazing in the Ngorongoro Conservation Area. And by then, Ngorongoro Conservation Area was therefore created on 1st July 1959 through an act of parliament, the Ngorongoro Conservation Area Act, which is now chapter 284 of the revised laws of Tanzania, 2002.
Ukiangalia Ngorongoro specifically, maamuzi yanafanyika katika mfumo ambao ni sio rahisi, ni very complicated, very complex. Kwa maana nyingine, stakeholders wanashirikishwa kwa sehemu fulani, kwa level mbalimbali, lakini vile vile kwa context mbalimbali, na extent ya power inatofautiana kutoka institution moja ndani ya NCAA kwenda institution nyingine. Ndio maana nasema kuna iko very complex hii taasisi ya hii governance ya Ngorongoro kulinganisha na maeneo mengine kama Tanzania National Parks ama game reserves. Na kama mnavyofahamu, vijiji viko chini ya wizara tofauti kabisa, ambayo inawasaidia kuwawezesha hawa wanakijiji kumiliki, lakini cha msingi kabisa kuendesha shughuli zao kwenye maeneo yaliyotengwa kama maeneo ya wanyamapori.
For many years, for actually thousands of years, traditional practices existed. But traditional knowledge is all about an understanding by local people living in different localities about the functioning of the ecosystems in the landscapes they occupy. In the traditional systems, there was the multiple species management concept that allowed for ecosystem balancing, because they did understand that different animal species graze at different levels, And then they practiced resource rotation, succession management, generally an understanding of landscape attributes, which they were aware did cut across science, economics, culture, and religion.
And then we had IUCN, one of the advisory bodies, also present their roles and responsibilities in that entire system.
We are the world's oldest and largest global environmental organization based in Switzerland. We monitor the state of conservation of the sites, and that means the values for which the site was nominated a World Heritage Site. IUCN is one of the three bodies that monitors whether those values are being maintained on the site. In this case, the Ministry of Natural Resources and Tourism in Tanzania, that organizes the monitoring mission, decides who the monitoring mission speaks to, so who they consult, where they go. All the logistics of that monitoring mission are not decided by IUCN, are not dictated by IUCN. They are organized, decided completely by the government. IUCN is well known for a lot of international sort of flagship products. Many of you may have heard of the IUCN Red List of species, endangered species, the World Database on Protected Areas, the IUCN Protected Area categories, and many other international products that we have developed over the years using our expertise that have become global standards of best conservation practice. Recently, we have organized a dialogue between mining companies, the extractive industry, and World Heritage Sites to try to find ways, much like we're trying to do here, to reduce conflicts between the interests of the mineral, oil, gas, mining sectors and the World Heritage sector.
Ninachotaka kuelezea ni mkataba wa urithi wa dunia. Huu mkataba wa UNESCO wa 1972 ni mkataba ambao Tanzania iliingia. Huu mkataba una documents ambazo zinaongoza. Kwanza ni mkataba wenyewe ambao ni kama makubaliano. Halafu kuna miongozo ya namna ya kutekeleza mkataba. Idara ya mambo ya kale katika Wizara ya Mali Asili na Utalii ndio inayoratibu mkataba huo. Lakini vile vile tuna permanent delegation ambayo iko UNESCO Paris, ubalozi wetu, lakini yeye anahusika na masuala yote ya UNESCO. Kwa hiyo inakuwa ni moja eneo lake. Lakini vile vile tuna tume ya UNESCO ya taifa ambayo iko chini ya Wizara ya Elimu, kwa hapa nchini nao ndio wanaohusika na masuala yote ya UNESCO. Huu mkataba unatekelezwa katika levels tofauti. Level ya kwanza ni nchi wanachama. Mkataba huu na nchi wanachama 191 mpaka sasa hivi. Lakini chini yake wana mashirika au NGOs ambazo ni washauri. Ni advisory bodies ambayo kuna ICROM, ICOMOS, IUCN na ndio wanaotoa ushauri kwenye kamati. Kwa hiyo wao ndio wanaotembelea haya maeneo kufanya tathmini na hatimaye kupendekeza la kufanya. Sasa mchakato unaanzia chini kabisa. Yule anayemiliki eneo husika ndio anaanzisha mchakato wa kuliweka eneo kwenye urithi wa dunia. Maeneo ambayo yako kwenye urithi wa dunia hapa Tanzania, kuna mji mkongwe wa Zanzibar ambao uliingia mwaka 2000, kuna michoro ya miambani Kondoa ambayo iliingia mwaka 2006, kuna magofu ya Kilwa Kisiwani na magofu ya Songo Mnara yaliingia mwaka 1981 na yalikuwa kwenye danger list tangu 2004. Kama mmeona katika magazeti ya hivi karibuni, mwaka huu yameondolewa kwenye danger list.
I think this question of livelihood has to be approached as well, so that all of us, when we are in this dialogue process, we understand the concept of livelihood, we understand what are the different elements of it, so we can actually talk about it let's say, in an educated way, so that we can find solutions for it.
Livelihood are the sum of ways in which people make a living. That is simple. How people make a living. How does people access food, access other resources needed for meeting basic need. The second one, livelihood is the ability of people to meet on a sustained basis basic needs to live. That is the second definition. The third definition is simple. Livelihood is good and dignified means of living. So these components related in realizing sustainable livelihood or attaining sustainable livelihood security at household level. The good thing for chamber definition is emphasizing the point of now and future, because sustainable is to sustain the living today and for future generation. This is very important.
We had a meeting last year. It was 3rd of December, Dar es Salaam. And one of the representatives came and discussed issues in and out. The conversation or discussion on how food will be provided to your place is on the way. This year, we provided 500 metric tons, and we'll keep on doing that one. Make sure that every household maybe reaches the point of getting the amount of what PM said. The police settlement has to come down for major analysis.
Ukweli ni kwamba kuna watu ambao kiuchumi wana uwezo. Sasa kilichokuja kufanyika ni kupembua wale ambao ni kaya ambazo hazina uwezo ziendelee kupata, na hii itaendelea, haitasimama mpaka tutakapopata mwafaka wa swala hili.
Kama tungekuwa na mti wa matatizo, yani problem tree, tungejaribu kutafuta kwa nini ni kitu gani kinasababisha upungufu wa chakula.
Mwaka huu mamlaka ilitoa gunia 42,000 za mahindi. Na ilikuwa kwa kweli tunaogopa hata audit kweli inaweza kaja. Ilikuwa over and above mahindi ambayo yalikuwa yatolewe kwa mwaka huu ule uliopita wa fedha. Lakini ilionekana ni muhimu kwa kweli kwa sababu tunawajali wananchi, basi tuliongeza. Nadhani zaidi ya milioni 500 kununua mahindi ya ziada. Na bahati nzuri ofisi ya waziri mkuu ilitoa magunia 5,001 kuongezea hilo.
I can say that the workshop have given us a chance to create linkages and also to create some awareness on the Ngorongoro issue. It has also paved the way for us for the future meetings with the other stakeholders that are to come. I'm really proud because having all those government institutions, agencies, and I would say entities, along with the UN agencies, IUCN, FAO, and UNESCO, and also with all those facilitators and the attention people are really giving to the debates, I can say that we are close to seeing a happy ending to the issue.
A lot of the government departments are already aware and are already working hard. We formed like a new group of people, of government partners that feel responsible for what's going on in Ngorongoro.